What leadership skills are becoming more relevant as your career progresses?
I think the leadership skills that are becoming more relevant are being able to manage a lot of different conflicting viewpoints, not only internally, but from external pressures. As when I was early in my career, I might be leading a team of just internal staff or just working on my own projects. And it was someone else's job to figure out what the overall context and how it fits into the political picture and the overall research agenda would be. And as I get further in my career, I have to start thinking about, how does this research plan fit into what the overall political picture is? So I have to not only think about, let's get the work done and let's get it done in a high quality fashion, but who's going to be annoyed by this research? Who's going to love this research? Who can we partner with to put this research out where we can get it broadly disseminated? The worst thing as a researcher is to have a paper that no one reads.
Right.
And there's this thing called ResearchGate. It's like Facebook for researchers, and it'll actually tell you, how many downloads your paper has had, how many times it's been cited, and it sort of gives you a score of what your impact on the biomedical research community is. And you want to be the researcher who puts out relevant information, but that's also read. And so, the real research nerds are going to go to PubMed, they're going to go to the National Library of Medicine, and they're going to download your papers. Where I'm trying to get is to the general public. And how does someone who's never heard of PubMed find my paper? It's working with, maybe patient advocacy groups. Maybe it's working with, just general, like social media groups, education groups, people who are not necessarily in the research field, and figuring out who those partners are going to be. That's something that I've had to think a lot more about as I get further in my career. So previously, someone else had been making those decisions, and now it's like I think a lot about who are going to be our partners, who's going to be impacted by this research. Trying to do a lot of resource allocation. You've got 10 projects that you want to move forward, and you only have time and bandwidth for 3 of them. Which one's the most important? Should we prioritize? And again, it's this question in research where you never quite know what the result is going to be. So you're sort of shooting in the dark a little bit. Maybe the 7 that you decided would have out of the ballpark results, and the 3 you picked, the results are just, we have no idea.
Right.
And you don't want to be that person who picked the 3 duds, but you never know until the projects move forward. So it's, calculating, trying to figure out, how much effort's going to go into this. And I worked in a lab once where we called it the jackpot lab, where we might have 10 or 15 projects going forward, and if one of them succeeded, it was like Nobel Prize work. But 14 would just be total duds, and the 15th was like, oh, we got to do another 3 years of work on this. And so there's all these different philosophies. Sometimes, research is done through incremental process where you just have someone, just working away for years and years and years, making tiny little progress at a time. And then you have other philosophies where it's this idea of a jackpot where you go big or go home. And, it's figuring out which of those roads to take. That it's a lot of sort of the decision making that I do now.